Hey Summoners, and welcome back to another ProGuides upcoming changes video. My name is Dan, and today I'll be going over all the upcoming item and rune changes that are planned for patch 9.23, aka Preseason 10. Everything I mentioned here can be found on the PBE or Riot dev boards, but please do keep in mind that nothing is set in stone, and changes can be made before 9.23 hits the live server. There are so many huge changes that we need to cover, but before we get into that, today's question of the day is, which champion do you think will be really powerful in Season 10? My answer is Fiora. With Conqueror becoming a more fervor-style rune next season, I think she'll be a must-pick or ban top laner. Let us know your answers in the comments down below. Also, if you guys want to get those ranked season rewards, then make sure to check out ProGuides.com. ProGuides is the best proven way to get better at League of Legends, and we have hundreds of guide videos just like this one. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description, pick up a challenger coach, and rank up now. Alright guys, let's jump right into the video. Starting with the support items. Almost every pro player agrees that support has been a really powerful role in Season 9. Even the solo queue god himself, Dopa, has said that support is by far the strongest role in the game. A big reason for this is due to the strength of the current support items and the value they provide. However, for Season 10, the Riot Balance team are looking to refresh and rework support items to change up the meta significantly. They have stated that the main goal of these changes is to make support more satisfying to play. Instead of having to continuously purchase upgrades for the same item, you'll instead get automatic upgrades to the second and third tier when milestones are reached. Feels Victor, man. The support items begin progressing towards their item build without having to spend their first 1500 gold on completing their economy item. These starting support items won't carry as many stats as before, but they have stated that they believe this is a fair trade-off for the jump start that supports are getting on their other items. The first item is still going to be called Spell Thief's Edge, but it'll now have a completely different effect. This item costs 400 gold, grants 8 ability power, 10 health, and plus 2 gold per 10 seconds. The unique passive on Spell Thieves is called Tribute, which makes your spells and attacks against champions or buildings grant 15 gold. This can occur up to 3 times every 30 seconds. Upon earning enough gold with this passive, you'll be able to transform this item into Frostfang, which has been reworked as well. Frostfang grants 15 AP, 70 health, plus 3 gold per 10 seconds, and the unique passive stays the same. However, instead of having to purchase this, do remember that you get this upgrade for free, and earning 1000 gold with this quest will get you the next upgrade for free as well. The last upgrade is called Shard of True Ice, and it provides 60 AP, 150 health, plus 3 gold per 10 seconds, and the unique passive is removed once you get to this stage. Spell Thieves will mainly be used by the same supports who pilot this item currently. Champions like Lulu, Janna, Lux will still be using this in Season 10, so enjoy building your comfort items. Next up for support items, we have Steel Shoulder Guards. This item costs 400 gold and grants 30 HP, 3 AD, and 2 gold per 10 seconds. The unique passive on this item is called Spoils of War, and it basically works similarly to the current Relic Shield. The next upgrade is called Runesteel Spalders, which grants 100 HP, 6 AD, and 3 gold per 10 seconds. And the final upgrade is called Pauldrons of White Rock. This item grants 300 HP, 24 damage, and plus 3 gold per 10 seconds as well. This item will change up the bottom lane meta by a lot. Having a support item grant you HP and attack damage is pretty unique, and I'm excited to see which supports will start building this. I'm especially excited to try out support Lee Sin again using this item. The third support item rework is going to be for Relic Shield, which will now cost 400 G and grant you 30 HP, 50 AP, and 2 gold per 10 seconds. The unique passive is called Spoils of War, and once again, this works very similarly to the current Relic Shield. The second upgrade is called Targon's Buckler, and it'll grant 100 HP, 10 AP, and plus 3 gold per second. The final upgrade is called Bulwark of the Mountain, and it'll give you 300 health, 40 AP, and plus 3 gold per 10 seconds. When it comes to this tankier AP support item, it looks like champions like Alistar and Rakan are going to love this. Not only does it give you survivability, but damage as well, which is just amazing. Lastly, for support items, we have the Spectral Sickle. This is basically the AD version of Spell Thief's Edge, and you can expect champions like Senna to build this often. This costs 400 gold and grants 5 AD, 10 health, and plus 2 gold per second. The second upgrade is called Harrowing Crescent, and it grants 10 AD, 60 health, and plus 3 gold per 10 seconds. And lastly, the final upgrade is called Black Mist Scythe, and it grants 35 AD, 150 health, and plus 3 gold per 10. The overall consensus for the item reworks is that they're a step in the right direction. When assessing the play patterns of the income passives, Targons and Coin used to encourage a safer and boring lane, while Spell Thieves was much more aggressive. In order to simplify the support item system and make laning more fun, the items have been revamped to be more damage heavy. Alright, now let's move on to the lethality items. First on the lethality list, we have Duskblade. Duskblade is being changed a tiny bit, but is overall the same item. The AD has been increased by 5, the lethality has been increased by 2, but the unique blackout passive has been removed. This means no more free ward kills. In addition to this, the lethality that this item grants is no longer unique, and you will be able to stack it. Next up on the lethality items, we have Edge of Night. Edge of Night will now grant 325 health from 250, 18 lethality instead of 10, but the total AD has been lowered by 5. In addition to this, the unique passive has been changed to be more like Banshee's Veil and will grant a spell shield that blocks the next ability. This means you will no longer be able to channel it before a fight and is active all the way through. Youmuu's Ghostblade will also receive a tiny change, which will now allow you to move through units while your passive is active. Up next are some changes to Serrated Dirk. Serrated Dirk in Season 9 was a really powerful one-item power spike due to the Headhunter passive. For Season 10, this passive has been removed, but the item will cost the same and grant the same stats. This is a direct nerf to a lot of AD assassins, but the biggest one that comes to mind is Zed. Then we have another lethality item called Umbral Glaive. This item costs 2,400 gold, grants 50 AD, 10% CDR, plus 10 lethality, and the unique passive is called Blackout. This is the same thing as the current Duskblade passive, which removes wards. And lastly, for lethality items, we have a brand new one called Sanguine Blade. This item costs 3,000 gold, grants 50 AD, 15% lifesteal, and 10 lethality. The unique passive for this item is called Blood Pursuit, and it grants you 8 lethality and 50 to 120% attack speed while you're near one or fewer visible enemy champions. This item is great for those 1v1s, and you might even see it being built on top laners like Renekton, Jax, Irelia, and Yasuo. This item can be very powerful in isolated lanes, so top lane would be perfect. Alright, that's it for lethality items, so let's move on to the ADC items. AD carries have been in a rough spot for a while now. Although the current itemization of ADCs aren't that bad, they still aren't as good as they were previously. For Season 10, the Balanced team are looking to make ADC items more satisfying to purchase and are reworking a lot of them. So first up, we have Zeal. Zeal will now cost 1,400 gold, and it'll have its crit strike increased from 15% to 25%, but the attack speed has been lowered by 3%. This item will also build off our Cloak of Agility now instead of the Knuckle. Speaking of Cloak of Agility, this item will have its crit change increased by 5%. Next, we have changes to Stormrazor. Pretty much only 2 champions in the game were building this item, who are Graves and Kai'Sa. However, for Season 10, the Balanced team want to encourage other AD carries to build this more often and are making some big changes. The cost of Stormrazor has been increased by 100, the AD has been increased by 5, the attack speed lowered by 15%, but here's the real kicker. This item will now grant 25% crit chance. This means that it'll appeal to a lot more AD carries rather than just Kai'Sa and will be a great first item. Next up, we got changes to Energized Effects, which will now stack. Kerchi's Shard will have its cost increased from 600 to 800, and Phantom Dancer will have its cost increased as well by 200. Rapid Fire Cannon will have its combined cost lowered from 800 to 400, but overall it'll stay the same. The energized damage on this item has been changed from 60 to 140 to 120 flat, and it'll no longer increase energized charge speed. Runan's Hurricane will have its combined cost lowered by 200 to compensate for the Cloak of Agility cost increase. And lastly, Static Shiv will have its combined cost lowered by 400, and the energized damage changed from 60 to 140 to 120 flat. Overall, just really solid changes for AD carry items, and I'm really looking forward to see how these reworks hold up. As long as we don't return to that initial ADC item rework, I'm all for it. The last few changes are just some removals of items and minor changes coming through. Doran's Shield will have its unique passive change to now regenerate up to 40 health over 8 seconds after taking damage from an enemy champion based off missing health. Spear of Shojin, ZZ Rot Portal, Homewrecker, Brawler's Glove, and Raptor Cloak have all been removed. RIP Trick 2G. That's it for all the item changes. Now let's move on to runes. The first rune change is for Conqueror. Like we mentioned before, Conqueror is getting a rework to become more of a fervor style rune once again. Basic attacks and spells that deal deal damage to an enemy champion, grant 2 stacks of Conqueror for 8 seconds. You also gain 2 to 5 adaptive force per stack, and it stacks up to 10 times. Ranged champions only get 1 stack per basic attack. When fully stacked, you heal for 15% of the damage you deal, but the true damage has been moved. Presence of Mind is being reworked this patch to now restore 20% of your max mana or energy and increases your max mana by 100. However, the ultimate cooldown reduction has been removed, which really sucks for ARAM players. Nimbus Cloak is receiving a rework as well, and it'll now grant you movement speed that lasts for 2.5 seconds and allows you to move through units after using a summoner spell. The movement speed bonus is increased from 15% to 35% based on the summoner spell cooldown. The longer the CD, the more movement speed you get. Aftershock will also be reworked this patch, and it'll now be geared towards tanks rather than carries like Lissandra or Fiddlesticks. The armor and MR bonus has been changed to scale better off your item stats, and the damage plus cooldown have been changed as well to favor tanks. Lastly, we have changes for a brand new keystone called Omnistone, which will completely replace Kleptomancy. Omnistone periodically grants a single use of another random keystone. This has an 8-second cooldown between using a keystone and gaining the next, and 12 seconds CD for ranged users. After 40 seconds of not using a keystone, Omnistone will reroll when you exit combat. Aftershock is only available to champions who have learned a basic spell that can trigger it, and Predator is only available to champs who have boots. Overall, all these runes and item changes are looking really promising, and 9.23 can't come fast enough. I'm really excited to try those lethality items because I love playing Zed and Talon. Sometimes, I just want to be the guy who one-shots the Ezreal. Alright, that's it for our upcoming item and runes changes for patch 9.23. Let us know which change you're most excited about in the comments down below, and please hit that like and sub button if you want to see more videos just like this one in the future. Also, make sure to check out ProGuides.com if you want to see huge improvements in your rank right now. Alright guys, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you out there on the Rift.